We made it on time this time. I don't know how that happened. Normally we're some technical difficulty or something, but we made it on time here. And Collin, you were kind of rocking out there. You liking that theme music? Is that what
it's getting to me, man? It's really starting to set in. I'm liking it.
Right on. So it's only been almost a year.
I know, right? It's crazy.
When did we start doing this?
I believe it was either May or June. Because it was the start of May that I had 2,500 followers on my page, and that was kind of the whole thing that started this. And now I'm up to 5,500 and almost a year. So
right, yeah. So we're doing good, and we're here. And thanks to all of you for joining us here tonight. It's Q&A with Collin and Friends, and tonight the special guest friend Fabiana Ireland. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. You're
welcome. I was doing a little bit of research on you. You know, I kind of had to do my due diligence and come to find out. I didn't know this, and I don't know if our viewers really know, but you have a firefighter background.
I do. Yes, yeah. I was a volunteer firefighter in our township.
Yeah. What got you interested in that?
Actually, one of our friends here in town that's a volunteer, he came up to me one day and he was asking me about our son, if he was interested in volunteering. And James had been a volunteer here as well. So he joked about it. And then I said, oh, maybe I'll volunteer. And he's like, yeah, you should. And I just put in the application thinking, oh, yeah, they'll never call me. You know, I was 39 at the time. So I thought, yeah, there's no way. And then they called me in and I passed all the tests and did everything they asked me to do, and I did it for a little over 2 years. So
fantastic, and I'm sure that contributes to what you do now when you're out on the heavy wreckers at times, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you know, it was a good thing because I got my DZ with the fire department, so that was, you know, it was a quicker way to do it than the way it is now. You know, it takes a lot of months now and a lot of money to do it. So I was able to do it with the fire department. So I've had my license a little over 5 years now, so it helped out with that and a lot of other stuff, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we like to go to the comments. They're already coming in fluently here. This is like it's always a test for me to keep up. Jesse, he's here in Sarnia. He says hello.
Hi, Jesse.
And there's Julie.
Hi, Julie.
When you're saying hello, folks, we appreciate it. Let us know where you're watching from. Fabiana, I don't know how many times you've watched this, but we get them from all over the world watching us here tonight. So it's pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
And here's Joseph saying hello, Collin, Fabiana, and David.
Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Tracy. Yep, she's here in Sarnia.
Hello.
One of our regulars. And here's a regular watcher as well, of course.
Hi, Lisa.
And hello from Sudbury. Hello, Sudbury.
Hey, Dave. Hi, Michelle.
And there's somebody from Stratford.
Hi,
Patricia. Sean. Boy, would be here.
Sean.
Here's another regular here too. Sean's a regular. They're all regulars. It's just great, fantastic. We do see some new people every week. Carl's definitely one of the regulars. He's coming to us from Oshawa. And here we go. Our first out of the country from Virginia saying hello to us. Hey, Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, Sarnia.
Hello from Sarnia, just down the street.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh, Collin, it just did it. It just went streaming past river. Here we go. Port Dover saying hello.
Hi, Linda.
I'm sure you guys have been there now.
What, Port Dover?
Yeah, you guys have bikes.
You know what? No, I've never been. No, I've never been. And I don't know if I ever will or not. I guess that, I might go. I would maybe go and drive through and then say I was there. I don't know if it's just really busy. Have you been?
Yeah, I haven't been. No, I don't even think I've been through there for a tow, to be honest with you. Like, I'm trying to think. No, I honestly think that I've never been there yet. It's on my bucket list. I do want to go to one of the Friday 13th events, but
right.
we'll see.
Well, not anytime soon with everything that's
No.
going on. That's for sure, right? I know there's been a lot of disappointed riders out there. Fabiana, do you ride motorcycle?
No, I do not.
No.
We keep talking about it with James that he's going to do his license, and then every year goes by, and then we never do it. We're interested in maybe getting a Spider at some point. That way I can drive it too, because I'm not really interested in doing the whole M1 or whatever it is now. And so a Spider would be the, I think it's a restricted license, so it'd be easier.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Well, I want to, Fabiana, there's a couple questions on my mind that are probably pretty obvious to most. And it just showed up here in the comments, and I want to bring it up. Darlene Lounsbury says, "Hi, Fabiana, you're such an inspiration. Glad to see a woman in the towing world. Watching from, is it Almonte, Ontario? Am I saying that right? So let's do that right now. What's it like being a woman in the towing industry? Because it's certainly dominated by men, right?"
Yes, it is.
So
there's a handful of women out there.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different. People look at you differently. You know, I mean, women and men are obviously different. We have different strengths. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I might do a job a little different than a guy might. You know, I'm a little more safety conscious and, you know, stuff like that. You know, we're different. So, but, you know, it's great. I love it. I actually enjoy it.
Well, obviously, I mean, my wife and I, Jennifer, were talking before we did the broadcast here, and we were talking about it a bit, and she's like, wow, that's so, like, great for her, but, like, she was like, she was kind of making fun of Collin, I'm going to be honest, right? She's like, I see that little guy grabbing that heavy hook off of there. He's tugging on it. She must be really strong to be able to do that, right? So, I mean, I think anybody in this industry knows you've got to be in shape.
Yes. Yes. I'm actually very strong up top. Like you know, I have muscles up top. My legs are so weak. It's not even funny, but, it is a little more different. And I think my height is an issue for me too. With my truck, it's not too much of an issue. But like, you know, other trucks that James has driven in the past, you know, they're a little bit higher when you put them out on the legs, on the stiff legs, and, you know, you can barely reach the controls. So you have to stand on the legs. We don't have that issue with our trucks, but, you know, if we ever did have a bigger truck, you know, that might be an issue for me.
Well, you say James who? Who are you talking about?
Well, you know, that guy.
Tell everybody for who may be watching that doesn't know that. So you're married to James Ireland.
I'm married to James Ireland. Yes, I'm lucky enough to have married him about 21 years ago now. So. Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go. I want to get out here to the some more of the comments here. Morgan is saying, I'm thinking, is this for Collin?
For Collin.
I'm thinking so.
Collin, yeah.
Unless you guys have a secret new rotator that you're not telling us.
Well, I wondered, right? I want to make sure. Yeah. So he wants to know, how do you like the new 65-ton rotator? I imagine pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really loving that truck. You know, it's a very capable truck, and so far it's blown the other two out of the water for the capabilities and the strength. And it's an amazing truck to operate. It's so much smoother than the other two that we've had in the past. And I have to keep my dad off the controls to get my turn.
He's still around? I thought he was retiring.
I can't get him out of the seat. He just keeps popping back up there whenever I'm not looking.
Well, it's really funny because I know that I know you keep giving him a hard time. Keep giving him a hard time, by the way. But you know, when we watch Heavy Rescue 401, it's really interesting. You know, when you guys get your little time to tell the story about the wreck that's going on, and he's always saying, you know I have to back off, and I'm ready to do that. But then the next thing you know, they flick to a scene, and he's right there. So I'm not understanding where he's going with this. Gary, if you're watching, what's happening there, buddy? But I get it, right? You know, it's got to be, with all due, certainly respect to your dad. I mean, it's got to be hard to really let go of something you've built and you're really, really, really proud of, right? And he's never going to retire. He's always watching somewhere. I guarantee it, right? Fabiana, for you and James, you stepped into that world. How long have you folks had your heavy rescue business now?
So we've had Rescue 51 Towing now for 3.5 years.
Right. And that had to be a big decision to say, let's do this.
Yeah, it was in the works for a while. I mean, it was in our mind for many years. James used to own his own company before. And he had one of the first rotators in Ontario, early 2000s. So it was something that was always in the back of our minds. And then finally we decided to do it. And it was the best decision for sure.
Yeah.
The responsibilities change, obviously, then, you're an owner, it's different. But we're a great team together. So it's working out really, really well.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you on the success of that, but it is a lot. You make a good point, right? When you kind of shift gears, pun intended, the responsibilities change, and I mean, there's already a lot of responsibility just being in this industry. It's a dangerous industry, right? So, how do you handle all of that stuff? It can get pretty overwhelming at times, and how do you handle it?
Let's put it this way, towing is our life. Like, this is, when you're in the towing industry, you pretty much surround yourself with people in the industry. Your friends are, most of them are in the industry, because everyone in the industry understands that you might not make a dinner if you're going for dinner, or if you're going to get together for something. You might not make it if something happens and you have to go out. A lot of people that are not in the industry don't understand that. And it actually, it takes time for people to understand that you just have to go. If something comes in, you got to go. So. Yeah.
And that's got to be understood, I guess, in a relationship. I mean, you have been married for 21 years. So, boy, you got to have that conversation up front.
Yeah. It was tough at the beginning, when you're just dating and all of a sudden, your boyfriend gets a call and he's like, well, I got to go. And you're like, well, wait, where are you going? Who called you? Like, what's going on? It takes a little bit to understand the business and to understand that that's why I started to go with him, because he wasn't around much, or, whatever the case. So I started just to go just for the ride along, and slowly I got into it, and here I am.
What was it that hooked you? I got all these great puns tonight. What was it that hooked you into that to say, I want to be in the driver's seat?
It was a kind of like a going joke, right? That we joked around. Oh, the next truck has to be an automatic, because I will not drive standard at all. So it was a going joke. And when we bought the truck, it was like, okay, well, it's here now, so I kind of have to learn how to do this, and So, but now that I'm doing it, I'm actually enjoying it. I like the long distance stuff. I've done a couple of trips. I went to Sudbury by myself, and I'm liking that stuff. Just the radio on and drive.
Yeah. And the relationships and all of this too. Collin and I have talked before about relationships over and over, right? I imagine you've built a lot of relationships yourself as well, just stepping into this industry.
Relationships with the towing industry, you mean?
Well, yeah, like, and just even around in your community, like, it's being in the towing industry is a very, very visible, right?
Yeah, like I said, we're mainly surrounded by other towers. Like, that's our main friends. Our closest friends are Tammy and Gary, and we have a lot of friends that are in the industry, and it's a brotherhood, basically. So that's our relationships.
Yeah. Collin, back over to you. I clearly forgot you were there, Fabiana. She's but yeah, who's Collin, right? He's hanging out with. Hanging out with that James guy right now. Joseph says, Fabiana, you've hit the nail on the head though. Towing, heavy rescue, 24/7, 365 job. drivers and operators on call all day, every day. It really is unique. And Collin, I was coming to you to say, like, obviously you would echo everything Fabiana says there, but for you as well, same, like your relationships are just in the towing industry for the most part?
Yes and no. I do, like Sarnia, again, it's a smaller community. There's not as many tow truck drivers close together as they have up their way in the Barrie area. But I do have a lot of friends across the province who are in the industry. And and that's the neat thing. You can bounce ideas off of each other. You get a recovery that you're like, what do I do here? And you kind of just pass it off through a few of your friends in the industry, and sure enough, someone's seen something somewhat close to similar to it. So you usually get some ideas out of that.
Right. Here's an interesting question. Jack Kane. Hello, Jack. He's also one of the regular followers here. And I've often wondered this myself. I just never thought to ask. He says, why, when you guys start pulling your tow rope, they look so hard? Why don't your rigs auto feed or pull out on their own? Do they? Collin, I'll let you handle that one.
All right. Well, they do have a winch out feature, but a lot of the time it's a lot slower than pulling it out by hand, believe it or not. So yeah, it is a little bit more labor intensive, but it does actually speed the process up quite considerably, especially when you have to pull 100 feet of wire rope out. You're really slow doing that by just winch out the whole time. If you do it by hand, it is a little bit quicker. It is a good workout.
Right. And Jack, if you can invent something that would be automatic like that, I think they would welcome that, and you'd probably make $1 million. Here's a good one. Madison says, hey, I'm 17 and I'm looking at getting into heavy rescue. What do you guys think about that?
You want to go first?
So you're 17. I would say stay in school, first of all. Finish up whatever it is that you're doing. Obviously, 17, you're grade 11, 12. Finish that up and maybe get into something that's related to towing, like mechanical, shop, any of that stuff. Try and figure that out first. I don't think you can just jump into heavy towing. I think it's something that you have to jump into maybe the light duty and then kind of grow from there, right? It takes quite a few years. I jumped into the heavy towing. I've never towed light duty, but it's different. I've been around the heavy industry for 20 plus years. So, but school first.
Yeah.
Great advice. Well, Collin, you can relate to that, right? Because I think wasn't the deal like with your family, like, okay, if you're interested in this, that's fine, but you got to go to school first and pursue something you're interested in. Was that how it was going to go?
Yeah, that was the deal with my parents. Was I had to go to school. I had to get a post-secondary education. So I took business marketing because for me that was a very obvious step to helping progress our business.
Yeah.
And that is something that I find very important. You do see the world a different way after taking some form of post-secondary. And it really does open your eyes to a lot of different avenues as well. You may not see a lot of options that you have until you do some of these post-secondaries. And it's not necessarily college or university. Sometimes it's trade schools.
Right.
And a lot of the time it's actually trade school, because that's something that a lot of people right now, especially young people, aren't getting into. And I can't speak of how important that is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years, because there are a lot of people who are retiring out of all of the trades, and there's not many people coming into them. So, that's definitely a big market that's going to be opening up for youth who are looking for work. Definitely check something out in the trades. But yeah, on top of that, I 110%, it's just like riding a motorcycle. That's my analogy. You start with a small bike and you work your way up to the big bike. You don't jump on the big 1,000cc motorcycle right off the top. You start with a little wrecker, you work your way up to the big wrecker. Because
did you say 1,000cc? Because that's not that big to me, Collin.
Oh, come on. Yeah, your bike couldn't even keep up to mine, so don't even.
It's not about the speed. Anyway. It's about Fabiana, so I have a 2053 cc. They call it a 2000, but I have to put in that 53 there. Collin wouldn't have to go very fast to pass me because I'm just not in a hurry with that much power. But no, it is a good analogy. Quite honestly, it is a great analogy. You want to start out, and just because you're in a dangerous industry, right? And safety, as Fabiana mentioned earlier, got to be key in all of this. That's why we keep talking about slow down and move over. It is the law, and the law will take care of you if you're not slowing down and moving over. I get really angry myself just if I'm driving down the road now and I see preferred towing or any tow industry on the side of the road, and people are still just giving her. I get mad when they fly down my street where I live here. I can't imagine what it's like being right there on the side of that yellow line on the edge of the road and somebody not slowing down and moving over. That's a pretty obvious answer, I would think, Fabiana. That's got to be frustrating for you as a heavy tower.
It's scary because I used to not think about it. Sometimes, I would be out there with them, and sometimes I would stay in the truck and kind of come and go, and then once I started going out and learning and kind of being on the side of the road with them, and I started thinking, like, we have 2 kids. If something happens here now, a tractor trailer's not paying attention and slams into our truck or the truck that we're trying to hook up, we're both dead. And we got kids at home, so that kind of I think about it a lot lately. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what it is, but it's bothersome, and people don't slow down. It's unbelievable, and sometimes it's truckers that don't slow down and move over. Just slow down. If you can't move over, we understand that. Just slow down. That's all. Even if you slow down, I don't think the law says what you're supposed to slow down to, but whatever. If it's 100, slow down to whatever, 70. I don't know. Slow down.
Yeah, slow down. Figure it out. Like, be responsible. Yeah. And you know what I noticed too these days with technology, it's lights are everywhere. Like Collin, you guys have is it the halos they're called, or talk about some of the lights that you guys have that there's no reason to not see a tow truck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've got all our LED beacons on the trucks. We actually have these really nice pod lights that we can set up. They're just magnetic base on them. We can set them up, a couple feet down the road from our trucks or a couple 100 feet down the road. They have a bunch of different flash patterns, different colors that they can flash. It's all stuff to, hopefully get people's attention that, hey, there's something going on up the road. Maybe I should slow down, move over, do what I need to do. But yeah, we are definitely visible out there. And I personally have a safety vest that's got flashing red lights in it, flashing red X on the back of it. Anytime I'm going out on a light duty at night, I usually throw that on there just because, it's just that added little extra piece. And, I'm hoping that people see that and realize, hey, there's someone working on the side of the road. Let's give them the space. But as Fabiana said, it's not always the case, and we're working to change that. But it's all about the other people. They have to change their patterns, their habits.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about slow down, move over, and we're often referring to the highway, but this goes for in the city as well. Like when you're, a major intersection here, Collin, would be, like Confed Indian, horrible, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 lanes going both ways. There's all ways, right? It's a busy intersection. And it still blows my mind that people they got to be the first one through. And as soon as one goes, we saw it on Heavy Rescue when they were driving over the planks on the road. The next one's got to, like, how do you control? Like, I would be so angry. You got to keep your emotions in check in this job.
Yeah, I think I've learned that over the years, because I know I was definitely a lot more frustrated when people were passing by and giving us buzz buys and stuff like that. I was definitely a lot more frustrated. But at the end of the day, when you get frustrated, you're not focused where you need to be focused, and that can cause problems of its own. So, you know, I've learned to kind of calm down and just make sure that I'm keeping an eye on my own personal being and safety. And you know, it's definitely one of those things you got to kind of understand that you can be as frustrated as you want, but it's not going to change what they just did.
That's right. Fabi, anything you want to add to all this?
I think when it comes to the lights, you know, when we have our lights on and whatever on scene, you get tunnel vision. And sometimes they actually go towards the lights, believe it or not. And
okay.
It happens all the time. You know, it happens with, you know, there was a fire truck that was hit here in Barrie a few years back. It seems like people are almost like, oh, what's going on over there? So they're looking, and you know, there's been many accidents that way. So lights are great, but I don't know what else we can do to get people to slow down. I'm not sure.
And well, prosecution, I know there's we've talked a bit about, we won't go too much detail, but the law's got to be tougher than I think it already is, right? You know, we've got to work on that, and I know there's a lot of advocacy in the towing industry for that. And you know, we're intrigued by disaster, unfortunately. And I know, I think, Collin, I think your mom was out not too long ago on a job, and she was just like, I can't believe it. People are slowing down because they got their video cameras going because they've got to record this tragedy. That I don't get that.
Well, and it was more than just slowing down. There were people physically stopping, and it wasn't on the same side of the highway that the accident was on. It was on the opposite side of the highway. They were stopping to videotape and take pictures of the wreck. And it's like I couldn't even count how many near misses there were just because of that. There had to have been at least 20 that I know of, and probably a lot more than that I didn't see.
Makes you want to rant.
Yeah.
Makes you want to rant. And well, I guess the only thing we can really do from this aspect is keep doing these kind of conversations. I think it's fair to say Heavy Rescue 401 has done a really great job of making people more aware, but there's still a long ways to go, right?
No, by far.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the show has done a good job of, I think, bringing it to the masses.
Yeah. All right. Here's a question. Actually, I wondered it too, but Tim Dyson has this one for you, Fabiana. Where did the name Rescue 51 come from?
So have you ever heard of a show called Emergency?
Oh, are you kidding? The one back from the 70s?
Yeah, so that show was Emergency, and I believe the fire station was Station 51 or whatever.
Yeah,
and because we were the fire department, we kind of put the two together. Actually, our friends Tammy and John helped us with the name, and we just kind of put it together. And Rescue 51. 51 is also in our area. When police are calling for a tow truck, they call it 1051. So that's, we kind of put it all together, and ta-da.
I'm not making this up. I was literally just reminiscing on YouTube, watching old reruns of Emergency because it popped. I was watching it, and I was like, that was like the best show. Oh, wow, that's amazing. It was a fantastic show. Fantastic show. Well, that's a really interesting story. That's neat how you put that all together. So there you go, Tim. There's your answer for that. Oh, that's really cool. Can you tell I'm really excited about that? Here's one. Stephanie's saying this. Hey, Collin, it's your little buddy Jackson. How old were you when you started helping your dad?
Oh, geez. Well, Jackson, my first ride actually from the hospital was in a tow truck. And pretty well since then, I've been hooked on this job, no pun intended. I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. As my memories go back to when I was probably like 3 years old, sitting in the truck, you know, spinning around, looking at my dad, watching him hook up to a car while I'm sitting in the truck. And you know, I can remember our old truck. We had one of the old radios with the telephone in it, and we used to call the dispatch for him if need be. It was, I just, it's been a long time.
It was a two-way radio with a phone patch, right?
Yep.
It was like,
Yep. You remember that.
oh, I remember. I couldn't, and cell phones had just come out, and I was like, Gary, you need to get a cell phone. I'm not paying for that. I will never pay for a cell phone, David. I'm like, everybody else has them. I don't care. Anyway, it's true,
And here
right?
he is. He still hates the cell phone, though.
I know he does. If I text your dad, it takes probably a week for him to get back to me, unless I make fun of him here on this show.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out. I'm keeping an eye out for it too. Anyway, but that's let's talk about that in technology actually a little bit. Fabiana, I'll come back to you, and Collin, I'm sure you'll have, like, you talk about how technology has affected this industry, right down to computers on board on these machines. Was that a big adjustment for you, Fabiana, or were you when you got into the big rig, it was already all computerized and stuff?
So mine is not. Mine is old. So there's no computers. Like there's nothing like Collin's truck.
Right. What year is this truck we're looking at?
That's a 08 Kenworth.
Okay. All right.
But the back end is, I can't remember what year the back end is. It might be around the same. I can't remember. So no, there's no computer in the back or anything. So it's nice and easy, just levers. That's it. So it's not complicated like the rotators and stuff they have now with all the computer, like that James used to drive at a different company. It was all computerized, and I don't know computers, so I would never be able to figure it out.
And Collin, what do you I guess you got to be careful here, but what do you prefer, computerized or non-computerized? I mean, that's
they're both
got a computer.
Right, that's why.
Well, that depends. I grew up kind of not doing the computerized stuff. I was I was the oddball out, I guess. I was always doing the more technical side of things and learning the old school way of things. But the computers definitely have their place. They're neat. Now, mind you, it is a little freaky when you pull up to a recovery and for whatever reason, the technology just decides it doesn't want to work. And I had that the other day when I was doing a little winch out. I open up the toolbox and where the controls are, and the screen says no circuit found. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? Because the truck literally runs on that computer. So if it's not working, it's you're not doing the job. So I ended up having to reboot the entire truck, and it ended up coming back online, thankfully. But it's one of those things. The technology is great because it's nice being able to have those digital readouts of what weights you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You can control everything from a single screen instead of having a million switches. But on the other hand, when that computer screen goes dark, you're in the dark.
Literally, yeah. Well, and I know you guys.
Too.
Sorry?
Didn't that happen on one of the episodes too?
Yeah, it did actually. That was
they couldn't edit that out.
Yeah, that was with the second gen rotator, and we still to this day don't know why it glitched. We turned everything on, and it just didn't want to play that day.
There was a gremlin in there somewhere.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, though. That's what you rely on, that stuff. I mean, boy, oh boy, if I lost my internet right now, this show would be over, right? Yep. It would go dark. So this is an interesting question, too. And actually, it leads into something else that I want to. It says, hi, David. Happy to see you got your bike back. Thanks, Jack. It's back. It was cold coming home from Corunna today. I almost called Collin to go get it for me. My question is for Fabiana and Collin. Do you guys have CBs in your rigs to warn drivers to slow down and move over?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah.
Sorry, who's going
first?
No,
go ahead, Fabiana. Yeah.
So my truck doesn't have a CB radio in it, but it would kind of defeat the purpose because, you can tell them to slow down and move over for, as you're pulling up to the scene. But once you get out and you're hooking up the vehicle, you're not going to be able to warn anybody. So It would help. And it does help, like if there's an accident ahead or something, they get on the radio, other truckers do, and let you know. I believe James' truck has a CB radio, but I don't even know if he has it on half the time because there's a lot of chatter on it sometimes. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I find the same thing. Like we have the CBs in most of the trucks, but at the end of the day, yeah, when you're out hooking up, unfortunately, you can't be with the mics, so you can't be telling anyone to slow
Yeah.
down, move over, and the range on those CBs is only a couple kilometers. So realistically, you're only alerting the next 10 trucks that may be passing by, and by then, the word's not getting passed down the line. Um, you know I keep mine off most of the time just because, yeah, it just, there's a lot of just bickering anymore. I find
Yep.
it's not like the old days where you could actually pass on useful information, but yeah, now it's just a lot of bickering, I find.
Yes, for sure. Well, I always thought it would be interesting though with technology. I mean, we have Amber alerts that go out through cell phones and stuff. And I don't know, unless somebody's going to steal my $1 million idea, but if there was some way to, I don't know, push a button, or maybe the OPP push a button and it sends out within a radius, hey, there's a major accident at this intersection. I mean, I'm just puking that up. I haven't thought it through, but have you heard of anything like that?
I think with Google Maps, just combined with a system called Waze. And I do know that they do have, like, the public can alert it. So you have the Google Maps up, you can click on the screen and say there's an accident here, or you see something here, there's traffic slowed down. So yeah, the Google Maps is pretty good for that, but I don't know of any other systems that do that.
But the problem with that is, and that would mean the drivers of the vehicles would have to be on their phone checking Waze or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a no-no.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, the solution is slow down and move over. And if you're driving and you're paying attention to the road, which you're supposed to be anyway, slow down and move over. We'll never stop saying that here on this show and Heavy Rescue and everywhere else, because it's nice. It is nice to see, like, around Wallaceburg here and stuff. When you're going into some towns, you see the signs that do say slow down and move over. It's a lot. So more signs and just more awareness. All right, let me get back to the Western. Hi from Western Outlaws. Hope to see you guys again later this year. Yeah, well, as long as Gary and Collin don't, like, machines don't break down, shouldn't be a problem.
We're going to keep the flyers away from you this year.
Who else we got here? Hello from Blind River, Ontario.
Hi, Shania.
And there's Donald says, hi, Collin from New Brunswick.
Hi, Donald.
And did you have Michelle, you had the pleasure of meeting Collin for her. Michelle met you for her birthday.
Yep.
Right?
That was fun. That was really fun. It was neat to have you guys down. So glad you could come by and say hi.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's going to change a little bit right now. Of course, we don't need all the details, but being more restricted now with the new announcements that were out today. But Collin, we know down this way. But Fabiana, do you guys get calls, or do you get people when you're out on the road that say, "Hey, I'd love to sit in your truck," and do you get a chance to welcome people into that? Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Kids, this is one of the reasons why we loved the feedback we got when James was on the first few episodes, on the first few seasons, season 1 and 2, because the kids just, it's the best part of it. They love the trucks. They recognize him everywhere he goes. It's amazing, and it's one of the best things from being on the show. Yeah,
fantastic. And it's always nice when you hear these things too. Hello from Southeast Kentucky. Thanks for all you do for your community. That's there is a real strong positive side to all this. We talked earlier about the relationships, etc. And I do want to bring this up though. With Fabiana, we were talking before we started the show here tonight. There's a lot of great positive things to this industry, but unfortunately, a lot of times you are coming up to some tragic, locations, and you need to be able to talk about that sometimes. There's an idea that you wanted to put out there that maybe could come in the future.
Yeah, it's just a thought. It'd be great, like the fire department, police, paramedics, they all have support. If they see something or they want to talk about anything, they can just make a phone call and they get the help they need. With the tow operators, unfortunately, there's nothing out there for us. So it'd be great if, at this point, we're all here for each other. And I know, like I mentioned to you, I know that Collin talks to a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people on Facebook too. There's a few comments from guys that have seen stuff and they just wanted to talk, and just we message each other and whatnot, and kind of let everybody know that we're here. If anybody in the industry wants to talk about anything, I'm here. Anyone can reach me on Facebook. I don't have an issue. Whatever time, message me. It only takes 5 minutes of your time to talk to someone and just listen.
Yeah. It's important to talk. Can't keep that stuff inside. Collin, we've had your dad, Gary, here before, and you guys kind of talked a little bit about that. Like, you have those conversations, right?
Yeah. And that's the nice thing, with my mom's background in the child and youth worker and the support worker and stuff like that. So I have that in my family, and through that, we also have that in the company. But yeah, no, it is definitely important that I think this is something that needs to be more of an industry standard. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that, a lot of the times we are going out there right along with the paramedics and the fire department and the police, and sometimes having to help in the extrication process. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for tow truck drivers to come across things that are rather unpleasant, and that is definitely something that can eat away at someone. And it does need to be talked about. You can't keep that stuff inside. You do have to get it out, and it's hard because there isn't as many avenues for tow truck operators to do that. But there are other people in this community who are willing to talk and willing to support each other. And as Fabiana said, we're both a message away, and we're more than happy to help out with that stuff, because we've seen it too, and it's tough, and you can't keep it inside.
Well, maybe something down the road that would be specific to the industry. But in the meantime, at least I know in our community here in Lambton County, there is a 24-hour distress line that people. So at least there, like you said, there is some organizations and some support, but certainly something more specific to the industry would. I can't see why that wouldn't be valuable. I guess at the end of the day, we just have to figure out a way to fund it and organize it. But when there's enough passion behind it, or there's enough of a need for it, you can usually make that happen, right? So speaking of making things happen, I always want to give a shout out. You talk about your mom, Collin, and Ohana Landing. I'll let you tell everybody who may not know yet just what Ohana Landing is in our community.
So Ohana Landing is my mom's idea. It's a homeless youth transitional house. So it's allowing youth in the community who do not have a very good position in either their own household or wherever they've been staying to get that hand up in life and try to start anew, essentially. So they're going to be able to get a housing unit, and just a safe place for them to stay, and a good fresh start.
Yeah. And as we like to say, and I think your mom created this one, a hand up, not a handout, right?
Yes.
And it's been super successful. And but it's always going to need some ongoing support. And if you'd like to support, you can purchase Preferred Towing Heavy Rescue 401 merchandise from Preferred Towing. There's information on your screen, and profits from all of that goes right to Ohana Landing. Or if you just want to make a donation, reach out to them on their website or give them a call at Preferred Towing, and they'll tell you how you can do that as well. And some already success stories coming out of Ohana Landing. So it's needed and it's working. And Tammy, if you're listening, thanks for all you do for that. And Gary, I know he's pretty proud of her work and efforts there too. It's really been quite a project and a journey to watch along. All right, I'm going to go back to the comments here. They just don't stop, but that's okay. There's a lot of hellos here. Just know that. And Steve says, "Hey, Fabiana, stay safe." Barry 411.
Hi, Steve.
And there's Matthew from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Hi, Matthew.
Jean says, Collin, my granddaughter wants to meet you as her birthday present. There's another one.
Well, right now, obviously, with everything going on, it's not a possibility. But in the future, you guys are more than welcome to come by and stop in and say hi. You know, it's always nice to meet people who are just as big of fans of the big trucks as we are.
This one, it's got cut. Last night I watched the episode of Heavy Rescue Forum where you were driving and operating the new rotator.
That was a year ago now, which is crazy to believe.
Well, there's a question. How long does it take, you know, when this is happening, like they're recording right now, I'm assuming, for next year?
Yeah, so everything you see is a year behind. So all the wrecks that you were watching this season was all filmed last year. They actually just wrapped up filming about 2 weeks ago for the next season. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Here's one. Hi, Collin. My 7-year-old son is a huge fan and wants to know, what color would you paint your truck if they let you?
Oh boy. That's funny. I you know what? I've always been a fan of blue. That was my favorite color when I was younger. I kind of rotate between blue and green, so yeah, I'm kind of.
The cards show that.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, no, I've had a few different ideas, but you know, the burgundy paint scheme is pretty all right. I do enjoy that.
You kind of don't have a choice there.
This is true. This is true.
Well, maybe someday when you want to rebrand, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, hi from Dubo. Am I saying this? Dubbo or Dubo? Sorry, my friend from Australia watching.
Wow.
Hello, Joseph. Here's one. Fabiana, do you go on all the calls with James? I mean, you do your own, but do you go on all the ones with him that he goes to?
So I still go on calls with him in his truck, but I try and stay behind now, because if there's something that comes in that I can go and do on my own, it's better, right? But I do still go out and do some stuff with him, yes, because I'm still learning. So, and obviously learning's never going to stop. So I don't like being in the office. So, and I do all the paperwork and I do everything that has to do with bookkeeping, and I hate that. So yes, if there's a chance to go out and do a call, I will.
Oh, now we know who's doing all the extra work around there. There's lots of people asking about different types of wrecks, but the one that I like to say is, Fabiana, is there one like funny time, like you showed up and you're like, wow, really? Or like, how did you? Or something silly that happened that you went to that sticks out in your mind?
Actually, I can't think of any. I went and did a winch the other day by myself, actually, and I winched the gentleman ahead, and then I realized that his back trailer was locked up. The brakes were locked up on the trailer, and I thought that was funny because his first comment was, "Well, you know, I was acting up this morning when I left the yard." Then why did you leave the yard?
Right, because that trailer might have been bumping down the road, I would think.
Yeah, so then he kept telling me to keep winching him ahead, and I'm like, no, I winched you out. Now you need to fix the trailer. There's nothing I can do about that. So that one is, you know, funny to me, but not to him, I guess.
Right. Well, nobody likes to see, you know, like a tow truck driver, a lawyer, and a doctor should never say, "How you doing?" How are you doing? I'm doing terrible because I'm looking at you. What do you mean? How am I doing? And it's right. But at the same time, if you look at it the right way, you guys are the heroes, and you're wearing the capes, and you are saving a lot of people. And I guess that's the other side of it too. And Fabiana, I'll come back to this because Collin and I have talked about this before. But you're really, you know, connecting with people when you're out there. Sometimes, they're stranded or they need extra help, or, you're not just pulling them out of the ditch and sending them on their way. Like, you got to feel pretty good about helping people out. I think that's a big part of probably what you do.
Yeah, and that's something being, around James for 20 years doing this, it's something that looking from the outside before I used to do calls myself, it's pretty neat. And he's pretty good with people. He's a people person. He makes friends with everyone. So usually, if he's reaching someone out of a ditch or helping someone out, he's going to be friends with them. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's just the way he is. So it does feel good when they're, and most, we deal with the commercial end of it. We don't deal with cars. So we deal with people that are, get me out, because the longer I'm here, I'm not making money. So people are very gracious when you get them out most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah. We're lucky that way.
But you, and I want to come back to this moment, and yeah, that's for sure. And it's good. Hey, make friends. Why not? Right. Because what's the alternative? But I want to come back to that moment you were just sharing, where you're pulling this guy out of the ditch and he's telling you what to do. Right. How do, like, cause you're like, where I'm going with this, right? Like, how do you handle that person? Because that's not easy to deal with all the time.
Well, he wasn't too bad. He just didn't understand that, he thought, well, if you keep winching me, I don't know, the trailers, the brakes are gonna be fixed somehow. I have no idea what he was thinking. But it was just, and he was in a spot where he shouldn't have been. He drove into an area where there was no way he was going to get out. He was going to have to back out, and that was going to be a big issue to back out too. So, like, I stood my ground and I just told him, I said, there's not much I can do. I winched you out. That's all I can do. You're out of the spot what you hire me to do, and now you need to call me to get this fixed.
And you shouldn't have been there in the first place, buddy. No, I know, but that's, yeah. Please don't wreck my vehicle that's already upside down in the ditch.
Yep.
Yeah, right. See, I wouldn't last. I love people, but I wouldn't last. It would come out the wrong way somehow. What's this? Your friend. Oh, I had it. It's doing it again. Oh, there's Tammy. There she is. Very proud of you, Fabiana, as we see you progress towards being a heavy recovery operator for sure. And you said that you're really close with Gary and Tammy. That's a really strong relationship there.
Yes, we are. We've known Collin since he was a little guy.
Yeah. Most of us have.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking. Oh, Benny says, "Have you taken the Rec Master courses?"
Yeah, I have. I have my 2-3 Rec Master.
Okay.
So you're going to join us for the 4-5 there next? Well, I guess whenever we're allowed to do one.
There was one in BC not too long ago, and I wanted to go to that, but I guess with all the closures, we couldn't.
That would have been a nice one. Go out that way.
Yeah,
see how things are a little bit different out there.
Here's one I'm not. Oh, it's doing it again. There it is. Collin. I don't know what this means. Calling the episode where they filmed in Atlantic City at the Recmaster Awards just aired in the USA, and the camera caught your friend right here, TTM.
I saw that. So I didn't realize that they had filmed that part for the awards banquet. So that was pretty cool. So no, I know that Glenn was pretty happy with that. And, it was nice to see a lot of familiar faces in the banquet there.
Inquiring minds want to know this one, Fabiana. Will James be on the show again?
So we were just on last week's episode. We were assisting another company here in Barrie, Lewis Heavy Towing. That's it for this year. We might be on next year. They've filmed here and there. So if we get a wreck and if it makes it on, sometimes they don't make it on, right? So.
Yeah, right. Here's a good one for both of you. How has the year been for rescues compared to other years without COVID? Fab, do you want to start on that one?
There hasn't been much. And I think that's been except for maybe the 401 down in the city, there's been quite a few big wrecks. I mean, it's a good thing. Obviously, we don't want anybody hurt or anything, but I mean, it's still been busy with towing. It was, kind of quiet there March last year, and then it picked up again and pretty much back to normal. In regards to accidents, there hasn't been a lot of big accidents in the area at all.
Right.
So, which is a good thing, obviously.
Yeah. Collin, what about you? COVID changed things up, right?
Yeah, it's funny because the heavy side of things is definitely kept up. It's definitely not at 100% capacity, but it's definitely like 90% capacity still. We're still seeing a lot of trucks on the road. Yeah, we're not seeing as many, mess up as we used to, but I also think that's due to less car traffic on the road. And I know a lot of people like to blame the truck drivers for a lot of the accidents, but I can tell you it's going to go 50-50 there. A lot of the cars have a very important role to play in these truck accidents, and seeing less car traffic on the roads the last few months has definitely shown that there's less truck accidents because of that. But yeah, we've been steady either way. We do a lot of equipment moving and stuff like that in the meantime, so if we're not doing heavy recovery or doing just towing of transports that are broken down, we're doing a lot of equipment moving. And that's the nice thing about Sarnia is we've got a lot of chemical plants here, right, and there's always something to do. So we stay pretty busy, which is nice.
Right. I know that it's been asked several times about trying, and I know your mom's looked into this, Collin, trying to find a tow truck toy to right. But here, Bill Goretz out here says, "Hey, Collin, I build custom models, and I am replicating y'all's rotator that your dad drove in the earlier seasons." I'm going to say, where are you from?
Oh, he's a firefighter.
Yeah, firefighter. Oh, yeah, there you go. Replicate. I just heard y'all's, so I'm thinking Texas. I don't know. That's pretty cool, but that's pretty flattering, right?
That's really cool, and we've had a few people ask us about the models and stuff like that. And I do want to say we do have something in the works. I'm not going to give it away because I know my mom will not be happy with me if I do that. But we do have something in the works, and it'll be. I think it'll be a lot of fun for all ages, is what I can say. So it's going to be something I think everyone will enjoy.
I'm going to text her right now.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Do the same.
What are you up to, Tammy? Well, one thing I know about your mom, she is creative in her ideas.
Yes, she is.
I mean, the calendars are out and they've sold really well. Another way to support Ohana Landing. And are you Mr. February, Collin?
Right here.
I was April.
Oh, you were April.
Right now.
Oh, you got them hanging up there, right? Well, it is April, right? Yeah, okay. See, if it was January and you had April up there, I'd be like, what's going on?
Who keeps track of months anymore, anyways?
Right. I know that was a big hit, and I think there's still some calendars available. I had one, and I told you I had to give it to my father-in-law, so now I got to come back and get another one, right? Which Collin had the interesting pleasure of meeting my father-in-law.
Instant fan made out of him.
Right. Couldn't remember my name anyway.
He's only known you for what? A few months, right?
Right, 11 years, whatever. Here's another one from Lancaster, United Kingdom. Hello.
Wow. Hi, Ian.
I don't know what this means. Collin Vandenheuvel, Baltimore. The word is Baltimore in November.
Yeah, so I don't know if the borders are going to be open the way it's looking.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to cross. We are really looking forward to doing one of the tow shows, but yeah, that all depends on whether they're going to let us cross the border in the next little bit. We'll see.
The Florida Tow Show, and then that one's the Baltimore Tow Show, which is a good one too.
All right. I would love to go to a tow show. I
You
just
should
to,
come.
you know what? When it's allowed, I'd love to go down with you guys and hang out and see. I like it would just be. I mean, you talk about the little kids. I mean, really, the big kids too, right? I mean, I want to climb in a truck and beep the horn at least, right, or something. Play with the lights or something. Okay, we can't get through an episode of Q&A without this coming up. And Jack says, I'm sorry I cannot let this show get over without saying the 3-letter word, Collin. If you want your father to retire faster, have him do the mud recovery.
There we go. There's a thought. I don't know if I want my new truck going through the mud quite yet, though. Maybe I'll let him. Yeah, maybe I'll let him drive the new truck through the mud first.
Morgan wants to know, yeah. How do you autograph copy of Preferred Towing Calendar? Can you get them autograph? I guess.
Yeah, so we did autograph every single calendar, at least every single calendar that I know of. We have autographed. You didn't get an autograph? Well, you must have got one of the early ones.
I was pretty upset about that. I asked your mom, your dad better, autograph the calendar, and I didn't get an autograph.
I got an autograph one. What's
Did
wrong?
you look though? Did you make sure? Because they're kind of, we were using silver Sharpie, so sometimes it kind of blended in.
Oh, look again.
I autographed at least.
Now you really need to text him.
At least 150 of those things, so you can't tell me that you didn't get one.
And another shout out to Tammy. Benny says, I think Tammy's awesome for doing this. I'm sure they're talking about Ohana Landing, and they'd like to help the community like them as well. Well, it's one thing I've always said, Collin, years ago when I worked for your parents, it was they've always been community oriented, and it was always at the forefront of their mind that whatever they do in their business, that the community would always be a part of it somehow. And believing in giving back. That's one of the things they taught me too, was that giving back into the community is super important, no matter where you live. So I think everybody should do that in some way or form. Let's do it again. I need a producer. I haven't hit the big time yet where I can afford the producer, right? So this is an interesting one. I still say tow trucks should be equipped with cameras to capture license plates of vehicles that won't slow down and move over. But that doesn't really work, does it?
I mean, the buses have them in certain places, but yeah, it's such a hard thing to enforce by camera because there's so many variables. If there's a truck or a car passing by and you can't see another car on the other side and someone's getting a ticket because they physically couldn't move over, that's a problem. But yeah, there needs to be ways of enforcing it, but we also have to be fair to the situation too. So yeah. One day, that's all I can say is one day.
Slow down and move over.
Yep.
Slow down and move over at the end of the day, right? Wow, here's
for anybody, right? You see a vehicle on the side of the road, it doesn't take much to move over. Sometimes if we're in front of the casualty, in front of the truck that we're trying to hook up, you might not be able to see that that's a tow truck in front, right? Because the lights, depending where you're coming, if it's on a hill, you're going downhill, obviously you'll see lights. If you're going uphill, you might not. Like, it all depends. But just any vehicle on the side of the road. And you got to remember, there's a whole bunch of different other trucks that use amber lights. So you got a million different companies that are running around with amber lights. So it kind of defeats the purpose there. And you just move over for anything that you see on the side of the road. I do it all the time. Doesn't matter what it is. It's a car, I move over.
Yeah. Tammy's there still. Calendars can be purchased by emailing Carol at office@preferredtowing.com and make sure you tell her that you want April signed. Dave's asking, hey Dave, can I get a random shout out of the day? Yeah, Dave, you sure can. I actually met Dave a couple years ago, right? When I first got back on the motorcycle, and you guys came over, and Collin knows I'm like, so like, if you're not doing this, like, who are you sending over here, man? Like, this is my motorcycle, right? And Dave came along, and I mean, Collin did come by a little bit later, but Dave's awesome. And how long has he been working for you guys now?
This is just coming up on 2 years now. So
Yeah.
it was literally when you got your motorcycle, that was one of the first couple of weeks that he was working for us. So.
Oh, you send me the new guy.
Yeah. I'll learn how to do motorcycles eventually. May as well make it within the first couple of weeks.
He did a fantastic job, and he's super. Dave, I'm glad you said hello. He's super friendly guy as well, so I appreciate that. Do you have to have a special license to run a heavy rescue?
You want to answer?
Collin, go ahead.
All right. So yes, to drive the bigger trucks, technically you need a DZ license to drive the heavy wreckers. In our company, we just make it a standard to have your AZ license, and then that way, because we have a lot of tractors and floats and other equipment that is all AZ as well. So just for the simplicity, we have our entire heavy fleet all has AZ licenses, so we can all drive every single truck.
Right.
Oh, so I wouldn't be able to work for you guys.
I mean, it's only a test away.
I don't know, especially when.
So for us, James has his AZ and I have my DZ.
Right. First thing though, Fabiana, if you want to work for Preferred, like, you need to stop complaining about the calendar, okay?
And you got to learn how to drive manual too.
Right. There you go.
Now.
All right. Well, look at that. I've lost track of time. I'm having so much fun. It's about 6 minutes past the hour, and so we're just about done. But here's one from Joe Pierce. It's been a few days since I spoke with you, Collin. What interesting recovery can you give us a little hint about for the show? There's only 3 episodes left for this season, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I honestly can't even remember what's going to be coming up. You know, we do so many, and then it comes out a year later.
Right.
So I don't even remember what's coming up on the show, but I think he's just even talking about this year. And man, oh man, I can't even. All of our recoveries came with it. I kid you not, a week. We had 1 week where it was just wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck, and then pretty well nothing the rest of the winter. We had 3 recoveries outside of that week. Everything else was in that week.
Right. Well, here's the answer to the question. You say there's only one way to know. That's to watch Heavy Rescue 401 Tuesday nights at 10 on Discovery Canada. I have it programmed into my phone and my calendar so I don't forget. If I don't show up, it's because I fell asleep early that day. And I love getting on the Twitter and having fun with the folks from Heavy Rescue 1 and all the fans and everybody as well. So Heavy Rescue 401, yes, only 3 episodes left as of this past week. So make sure you tune in and do that. Thank you both so much for being here again this week, Collin and Fabiana. Great to virtually meet you. And you're welcome back anytime. It was a lot of fun having you here.
Same here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're welcome. And I always like to say, any final thoughts you want to put out there before we close things down, Fabiana?
You put me on the spot.
Whoops. Way to go, Dave.
Did so well until now. Just, the typical, just slow down, move over. And like I said, if you can, do it for anyone on the side of the road. Yeah, for sure. And I can't get to everybody's comments here, but there's like, love the show. I'm a volunteer firefighter in Interkip. They're all saying thank you so much. Good evening, Stacey. Everybody's saying thank you here, so I don't have time to put that up. Collin, final words from you.
I want to thank everyone for, making this show a hit. It's been awesome the last few months, and, I look forward to doing many more of these live streams as long as Dave and everyone else wants to take part in them. So, we'll definitely be back for at least a few more months for sure. So, thank you everyone for watching.
And I love doing it. I got to tell you, I never know who is going to show up. Collin sometimes tells me very last minute. Oh, I got this one and working. I know he's constantly working on it. And we do have some things planned for the future. The plan is to continue doing this at least once a month. And hey, maybe we'll have our own reality show someday, Collin.
There we go. I like it.
Right on. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Tune in to Heavy Rescue 401 Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Fabiana, again, thanks, and say hi to James for us.
Thank you. I will. Bye, everyone.